You have to be the one who creates your desired success and who creates your desired outcome. There are terrible, horrible, negative consequences when you do not win. Now, I'm not getting into today's episode by wanting to put you in a position where you feel afraid or you feel pressure. So, if you're going to listen to this episode and you're going to walk away from it going, oh my God, the weight of the world is on my shoulders, this is not for you. Come back to it later. No big deal. In today's episode, we're having a conversation about responsibility. We're having a conversation about leadership. We're having a conversation about purpose. This is what carries you through. This is what moves you. This is what propels you. I am a leader, and leaders lead. Even in times of optional, completely, this current economy, it was optional. The people voted. They chose it. It was optional. It was optional. The black lady had more than concepts of a plan. She's quite literally educated, economically, specifically. I was going to be utilizing the fuck out of that first time home buyer. We don't have time to talk about it. We don't have time to talk about it. We don't have time to talk about it because we're here. We're here now. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. Focus. Focus. Even in times where you have a fucked up economy, a fuck ass economy, and a fuck ass administration, even in times like this, leaders still have to lead because it's who you are. And your purpose is what's going to carry you through those difficult fucking moments. We're always talking about mindset. We're always talking about being the leader of your mind. What happens when you're not the leader of your mind? Your mind is being led. Either you're intentionally leading it, or it's being led by your subconscious, or it's being led by the content that you're seeing online, or it's being led by the algorithms that we all know push a whole bunch of crazy shit. You're just innocently scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Next thing you know, you're falling down a fucking alt-right pipeline. Accidentally, right, allegedly. So, when you're consuming, breaking news, terrible things are happening. Breaking news, more terrible things are happening. That can disrupt your nervous system. That can make you feel afraid. That can make you feel powerless. That can make you feel like everything is going to shit. And you start getting into survival mode. What happens to your brain when you're in survival mode? We talk about it all the fucking time. What happens to your brain? What happens to your animal lizard brain? When you get into survival mode, your prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of creative problem solving, it's your logic and reasoning, or a lot of your logic and your reasoning, right? When your nervous system is activated, your body is like, okay, we need to survive. So your animal lovely reptilian brain, whose number one priority, like its specialty, is survival, that takes over. So when you are watching news, whether it's about your country or a foreign country, whether it's about the economy, whether it's about the stock market, whether it's about bubbles bursting and all of these other lovely things, whether it's about recessions and all of the wonderful things that are happening in the world right now. When you're watching this shit and your nervous system gets activated, you do not have a brain that is functioning at its highest capacity. I hate when my brain is not doing everything that I know that it can do. I took a week off of the podcast, then I got sick. So I didn't love that. I realized I was getting sick on a Sunday night. I was doing a video to catch up over on my YouTube. We're doing Halloween hysteria, Halloween pick a cards for the last several weeks of October. Every week is a different theme. Last week the theme was what the hell was the theme last week? I already forgot. Last week the theme was Twilight. This week the theme is ruthlessly rich and spoiled rotten. We're having a lot of fun there. Go check it out. Also, it's 1:11 p.m. while I'm recording this. But I had kind of fallen off schedule. I wanted to get 5 videos up for sure last week. So I ended up working Saturday and Sunday, which I really tried not to do. So it's Sunday. I'm getting this video out because it needs to go out. I'm determined to do it, okay? And as I'm getting into the reading and I'm channeling the energy, I start having like a moment, like my brain is not doing what it typically does. When I tap in, energy flows. When I am in that flow state creatively, we have fun. There's witty comments that come into my mind. There's jokes and there's this energy and a lovely pace. And I've got great comedic timing and the delivery is fabulous and just... it's lovely. You've experienced it. You've listened to the podcast. You get it. That Sunday, a couple different things happened where I was like, why can't I remember this word? What is going on? Something is wrong. Something is wrong with my brain. Like, this is weird. This is giving me like my brain right before my period starts, like just weirdness. And my period is not starting right now. Like, sister, we're getting ready to ovulate. I don't know what is happening right now. You know what I mean? It was weird. I get through the reading because sometimes it's quantity over quality. You just show up and you practice and you strengthen that muscle over time and you work on the quality later. So I get through it, and then the following night, meaning a couple of hours later, I have a fever. Oh, I'm sick. Of course. So when I had that moment and that realization of, oh, I'm sick, things started to make sense. Because I'm like, that was so weird what my brain was doing earlier in that reading. And I don't know if people noticed. Maybe they do. I kind of hope that they do, because I can feel and I can tell when my energy is on fire and I'm flowing, and other times it's not as hot. No big deal. We'll figure it out. We'll do better next time, you know? That's a really great example of how there is a clear difference between when you feel safe and secure and you're in a place where your brain has the capacity to generate and to seek out and to point out and to take action on creative solutions to problems, versus when you feel unsafe, you feel insecure, you are in survival mode, your brain is not operating at that high capacity, at the highest capacity that it can be. There's a difference in the quality of your life. There's a difference in the way that you're able to interact with other people. There's a difference in the ideas that come to your mind. You might still be able to show up and do something, but are you doing the best thing? No. Are you doing the greatest thing? No. And does every single day have to be the best thing in the entire world? No. But do we want to do our best? Of course. And do we want to curate environments, internal and external, where a majority of the time, more often than not, we can be doing our best? Of course we do. So when it comes down to your purpose, oh, give me a second. I'm like, I love that. Was that a tangent? I'm still coming back online. I feel significantly better today than I did earlier this week. Shout out whoever created NyQuil and DayQuil. I actually got the off-brand Walgreens brand, but whoever created whatever the fuck that is, I think it's acetaminophen. I can't laugh that much because laughing makes me cough, which is a really the most sick and twisted part of all of this. I hate not feeling good. I don't like not being able to laugh. Anyway, focus. I love over-the-counter medicines. They're saving my life. I'm feeling much better, but I'm still figuring out where we are. So we're going to end what I just said. We want our brains to be functioning at a great, fabulous, wonderful high of capacity as possible more often than not. When we're consuming content that makes us feel powerless, we're not operating in that highest, super great, wonderful capacity. When we can't come up with creative problems and solutions, we are not good leaders. And in the moment where there's disaster, in the moment where there's chaos, in the moment where everything is going to shit, that is when the world needs your leadership more than ever. In the moment of fucking disaster, in the moment where everything is going to shit, that is when the world needs your leadership the most. We know that the current administration is full of so much shit. And we know that the strategy has always been to overwhelm the people with bad news and disaster and chaos. Because overwhelmed and terrified people do not take action. People living in survival mode do not take action, and they do not stand up to fascism. You cannot. So knowing how to regulate your nervous system is incredibly important. And knowing how to be the leader of your mind is incredibly important. And Stella is really getting her groove back, because I forgot what I was going to say a couple seconds ago, and then it just naturally came back, and like now we're here full circle, and I'm like, oh my God, like, oh, I'm the mind of a mastermind. Yes. I love it when you do this. Okay, sorry, focus. Okay. It's so important to be the leader of your mind. And having a connection with your purpose really powerfully helps you be the leader of your fucking mind. If I don't show up and I don't lead and I don't win, then the prison industrial complex thrives. Slavery never ends. We talk about this in the Receiver's Mindset course, and I don't want to say too much, but the Receiver's Mindset course has like 1,000,000 fucking hours of content and exercises and all of the things. So me saying a little mindset shift is not going to undervalue it, but I'm scared, but I'm going to say it. I teach all of the time that Having self-worth, when you have self-worth, you know and believe, I am an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. The Receiver's Mindset course is basically me taking you through every single aspect of that phrase so that you can show up for yourself and change your mindset over time so that you can know and believe, I am an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. We don't just say affirmations in this family. We develop deep, genuine, authentic understandings of what these phrases mean so that when we say them, we evoke emotion within ourselves, so that when we say them, we can say them with conviction. And from that place, we are able to change our lives. We're able to manifest our desires with ease. We are able to receive. So, okay. I am an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. That means none of the good that is destined to happen in the world will happen without me. That doesn't mean I'm the only important person. It means we are all important people. And so if we have 10 important people, we need 10 people in order to do this job, and 9 people show up for the job, but person number 10 is not there. Is the job complete? No, it is not. We only have 9 people. We need 10 people. It doesn't get done if we don't have person number 10. Person number 10 is just as important as person number 1. Person number 10 is just as important as person number 5. Person number 4 is just as important as person number 10. We can all be equally important, but we have to acknowledge that we are important people. We are important individuals. When you get your desire, when you have financial overflow, when you are thriving in that business, there are positive consequences to you leveling up. The positive consequences to you leveling up do not occur if you don't show up. One of the things that I am really passionate about is dismantling white supremacy. No, I don't want to say that, because you can have your white supremacist delusion. I don't give a fuck what you think. However, I do believe in dismantling the systems of oppression that are rooted in white supremacy. So what that means and what that looks like for me is changing, rearranging, and dismantling the prison industrial complex and the school to prison pipeline. Am I the only person in the world who does that, who cares about that, who's passionate about that? Of course not. But if I'm person number 10 and all 9 of the other people are on their Zoom and I don't show up, do we completely dismantle the school to prison pipeline system? Do we completely dismantle the prison industrial complex? Does slavery end? No, it doesn't. Because I'm an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. Abolition was put on my heart for a reason by God. That means that is something that I am called, anointed to carry out in this lifetime. Social justice costs money. Social justice has always costed money. Cost money. Always, 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 always. The Civil War cost money. There were Black people with money that were funding the civil rights, the Civil War effort. No, not the Civil War efforts. Hold on. Somebody just walked past my room. with their phone on speakerphone, and it just threw me off. There were black people with money that were funding the civil rights movement, yes, and also that were funding what is that word that I'm looking for? Slavery being abolished. I feel like I'm looking for a specific word. Fuck it. You understand what I'm saying. Back in the day, slavery was a thing. There were free people and free men and people who were getting to the north that were committed to ending slavery in order to gather up and create armies and all of these things in order to fight against oppression that cost money. You have to be someone who is willing to allow money to flow to you and through you in order to successfully carry out social justice efforts and initiatives. You don't get civil liberties or equity without money. It doesn't happen. So everybody thinks it's so cool to be anti-capitalist. Do what you like. Everybody thinks it's so terrible to be a billionaire. Think what you like. I'm going to receive as much money as I possibly fucking can because the amount of money that I have is proportional to the amount of good that I can do in the world. There's no ethical billionaires. I'll create one myself. If I don't have money, if I don't increase my income, if I don't have financial abundance, people in my community will not be able to feed their families on Thanksgiving because they won't receive the SNAP benefits that they need. And if they don't receive the SNAP benefits that they need, then there are small grocery stores that will have to close down. Many economies, many, M-I-N-I, economies will collapse and buckle in on themselves. If small grocery stores are not making money because their customers are not getting SNAP benefits, then those grocery stores cannot pay their employees. Those employees are not getting enough money to survive. Those employees are not able to get SNAP benefits that are made to support them. Those grocery stores are closing down. There is a negative ripple effect. And when you are someone who has money, there are people who are, I think Aldi has this fucking Thanksgiving meal special for $40. And it's like a Thanksgiving meal that feeds 10 people. And I'm not saying that Aldi is your local mom and pop grocery store. But if I have money and I have abundance and I have overflow, how many $40 Thanksgiving meal gift cards can I purchase to give to families who have next to nothing? And if that's my calling and that's my desire to give back, I have no idea how, but the shit that's going on right now in the world is moving me so fucking deeply. My heart and in my soul is like, you know what you have to do this holiday season. If my desire is to give back to community, then that means that there is a family who, even if I don't know them, they're counting on me. If I don't reach my goals, if I don't allow money to flow through me, if I don't lead, what kind of experience does that family have? And what are the psychological consequences of growing up poor and having nothing and living in a world where you're not being supported by community? Do you grow up feeling jaded? Do you grow up to be a kind, compassionate, empathetic, loving, and giving human being? I know what it's like to have nothing financially. I know what it's like to feel financial lack and scarcity and fear and powerlessness and overwhelm. I know what it's like to get bills in the mail, have no idea how they're going to be paid, and to feel like my financial future and desires is impossible and things just look so bleak. I know what that's like. I never want another person to feel that way. I became a more empathetic person. My time of having no money, my time of experiencing so much financial lack taught me so much compassion and empathy. I recommend it. I recommend that we all be poor once. I'm just kidding. Jesus. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that we are important, significant women who matter and belong. And we have to lead. And we are called to lead. And the world needs our leadership. And maybe your leadership looks like your relationship with your child right here and right now. Maybe your internal leadership looks like you having the capacity to process the emotions that you're feeling as you're looking at the cuts that are happening across education, the cuts to funding of government assistance and different things like that, that fingers crossed don't actually fully happen. Although I don't even know how much of the not happening is happening at this point. Anyway, you being the leader of your mind is being able to create an environment of safety and security and love and peace for your children. So let's take it back to the beginning. There's a ripple effect that happens in alignment with how you show up in the world. You are called to lead. You are called to give. It's so important to be the leader of your mind. And your purpose is something that powerfully puts energy behind. It's like an engine that propels you towards your desire. Because when I think about purpose, okay, in that sentence, new sentence. When I think about my purpose, I'm sitting here, I'm going through my Pursue Your Purpose workbook. By the way, it's free inside of the free resource library. Everything I do is amazing. You're welcome, by the way. I'm going through this workbook and I'm going through the answers that I've done before. And I'm answering more of the questions, and I'm going along with a different course that I'm enrolled in from a different coach of mine. But I'm going through this workbook, and I realize if I do not show up, slavery never ends. Because a part of my purpose is dismantling the school to prison pipeline system. It's going to look 1,000,001 different ways. I have 1,000,000,000 different fucking ideas. But that's a part of my purpose. If I don't show up, I don't lead, I don't make money, I don't have funding. It's not just about if this business doesn't make money, if my relationship with money does not improve drastically. If I do not trust money to flow into my life, if I do not expect money to flow into my world, if I do not expect abundance, if I do not allow for overflow, if I live as the woman who only has enough to survive, or the woman who only has enough to survive and be a little bit happy, no, 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 no. I need overflow. I have plans and an anointing on my life that requires financial overflow. That is my responsibility. If I do not step into my calling, if I do not step into my purpose, I am person number 10 who does not show up, and slavery never ends. Martin Luther King was person number 4. Angela Davis was person number 3. And Harriet Tubman was person number 1. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that there's only 10 people, of course. But there are people who have come before us that have done amazing fucking things. We are not going to ride the coattails and ride the ripple effects of their work to freedom, like Nicki Minaj said, right? That's not happening. We have work to do, and we have a responsibility to move forward what has come before us and what previous generations have done. And that requires money. That requires funding. If your community doesn't have money, your community doesn't have shit. We can collectively come together and starve together and kumbaya and sing "We Hate Capitalism" if we want to. I mean, you can do that if you want to. I was never going to do that. I don't know anything about that lifestyle. I have been poor. It was never my destiny. It was always something I was going to experience temporarily. That was never where I was going to stay. That was never going to be something that I accepted. That was never going to be something that continued for me. And that's just my mindset. And that's just my conviction. And that's just my calling. You want to be poor and you want to commiserate together and you want to starve to death together? Fabulous. Be my guest. Personally, me, I'm going to create an environment of so much motherfucking overflow. I'm going to create an energy of so much abundance and freedom and power that you cannot help but to make more money as a consequence of being in my presence. You cannot help but to get creative ideas and inspirations as a consequence of being in my presence. I'm going to be so safe and so secure, and my nervous system is going to be so beautifully fucking regulated, and I'm going to be so emotionally resilient that you cannot help but to get into my presence and to feel calm. A sensation of calm, mind, body, and soul. That's who I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to do, because I'm a leader and leaders lead. Leadership comes with a level of responsibility. You're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your family. You're responsible for your community. You have a goal. You have a desire. You're a business owner. You're a woman climbing that corporate ladder. If you're an artist, you count as a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You're a creative. You are a leader. If the world does not get your work, the world is far worse off. If I did not see Sinners as a movie this year, literally, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. If I did not see Sinners as a movie this year, I would not be on the current creative track that I'm on. That movie reignited so much passion and desire within me that I realized, oh yeah, it is my dream to work in entertainment. I realized, wait a second, Oh, yeah. I am meant to be a storyteller and a director. No, you're right. No. Yeah. Because I almost forgot. I got so caught up in the building of this business, I wasn't even acknowledging I'm a fucking creative. So now I'm on this creative recovery journey, and I have the artist way, and my YouTube channel is getting even better, and I'm making even more money, and people are being even more entertained by the things that I create. And I'm creating a second YouTube channel, and that's going to change and transform lives, and it's going to be really entertaining, and we're all going to be smart and more media literate together as a family, and it's just going to be lovely. And if I had never seen the movie Sinners, if other people had never seen the movie Sinners and the people were not talking about it all over the social medias, because I didn't really understand what the fuck it was about when I saw the preview. All I saw was Michael B. Jordan outside of a fucking shack, bloody, sitting on a fucking stoop. I didn't know what the hell that was about. I didn't. I texted my friend Jordan. She was driving through my city heading back to Southern California. I'm like, hey, Boogie, what you doing? You want to go see this new movie? I don't know what the hell it's about. Here's the preview. She's like, yeah, I'm down. Because she's a Sagittarius. Love her. Love an adventurous spirit. We go see it. It was the best movie I've seen all year. Hands down. Nothing else fucking compares. Like, please. That movie changed my life. It inspired me. It created a ripple effect so fucking strong. I've been sitting here hemming and hawing and going back and forth about going back to school and all of these different things. That movie solidified me. That movie altered the trajectory of my life and put me even more on my path. And we don't even have time to discuss how that rippled out into my community so far. So, okay. In times like this, we need leadership. Our leadership has a ripple effect. When we want to lead and the world seems chaotic, we come back to purpose, because our purpose is an engine and it drives us forward. It propels us into our desire. Our purpose is how we develop conviction. Our purpose is how, when we get knocked down, we get the fuck back up again. It is our purpose. Because it's not just about me. It's not just about where I'm going. It's not just about what I'm doing. It's not just about my bill. It's not just about my current financial desire. It's not just about my current sales goal. It's not just about my current desired income. It's about what my relationship with money will be like 10 years from now. It's about how I'll be able to have a nonprofit that actually generates, well, I don't know if nonprofits generate profits, not profitable for me, but profitable for my community. Me being able to build this business, me being able to create multiple streams of income for myself, puts me in a position where I don't have to be a nonprofit owner and CEO and whatever who's like shady and weird with the money, because I already have the money. And so this is really for charity, and this is really for giving, and it's not shady at all. And I can really let the money flow through me, because the money is always flowing and I'm taken care of abundantly and comfortably. And so integrity is really easy for me to maintain. There's a greater purpose in everything. And then what I was talking about at the very beginning, we're going to end this episode by going back to the very beginning, because that's what I really wanted to talk about this entire time. when you have gone through changes and growth and expansion, you are able to shift people in a way that nobody else can. And this is one of the ways I have to explain with an example, because I know that was kind of vague. But this is one of the reasons why the white savior complex thing doesn't hit hard for anybody. Because I'm finding it. I'm finding it. I'm finding it. Okay, I'm gonna give you my journal, a portion of my journal prompt answer, and then I'm gonna give you my example. So this is the question from the Pursue Your Purpose workbook. It says, who doesn't get served if you don't receive your desire? And what happens to them? So I say, if I don't get my desire, if I don't build my desired business, then the only powerful influences in the spiritual and business world are white women who don't advocate for Black freedom or education equity. The organizations who need the most help are overlooked. They continue to struggle without my help. The school to prison pipeline continues. The prison industrial complex thrives. Slavery never ends. Now, me answering this prompt in this way is not me saying wealthy white women don't do enough. No, I don't give a fuck what wealthy white women do. But I don't expect wealthy white women to come and help me. Also, they don't really have the capacity to do that. I'm going to explain that in a minute, but we have to do a little 2.5 there because there's a caveat. I know a wealthy white woman, multimillionaire, right? She's built her business. She's great. She's a great financial coach. Do I look to her for help when it comes to social justice? No. Money is political. Yes. And she's still a white woman who leans towards the historical inclination of being white before being anything else. So she had a baby and she ended up losing one of her children. Her child passed away, unfortunately. And she ended up donating 10%, 20% of the profits of whatever to this organization for her child's, for this organization that also helps babies that are born premature and children in the NICU and different things like that. And that's a really, really beautiful, worthwhile cause. That is not a cause that I would seek out to support. Not because that's not a worthwhile cause, not because that's not a cause that's worthy of money, not because that's not a cause that I care about, but because that doesn't impact me personally and I don't have conviction over that. There's a long list of organizations that I would put money towards before babies in the NICU would be on my list. But does that mean that this babies in the NICU organization doesn't deserve money in abundance? Of course not. So the other successful multimillionaire companies and corporations can and should serve in the way that they are called to serve. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying that it's not worthwhile. I'm not saying that they're not doing a good job and they're not doing enough with their money. I don't give a fuck what you do with your money. I don't give a damn. Do what you like. What I'm saying is that based on my experience as a Black American woman, based on my experience as a fat Black American woman, based on my experience as a fat Black American woman who grew up lower middle class, I'm saying my experience as a fat Black American woman who at one point was so incredibly poor that she could not keep a bank account, There are a whole bunch of causes that I know intimately as a fat Black American woman who is the descendant of enslaved people, as a fat Black American woman who was failed time and time again by the public education system. There is a long list of shit that I know is not working and needs to be improved. And I feel called. I have the strong desire to do something about the injustices that I have experienced. These other women did not have those same experiences, right? I've heard, you know, one of the women that are in my mind, that are on my mind right now, talk about, you know, like some problems with like the schooling system and, you know, experiences that she had as a kid with like dress code and different things like that. But it's not the same conviction, right? Because she didn't have the same experience as me. She did really well in school. She went to really good colleges, and that's lovely for her. I had the completely opposite experience. So there are different things that I care about deeply. And the shit that we care about is rooted in our own personal life experience. And nobody is a good or bad person because they don't give a shit about the same shit that you give a shit about. There's so much shit to give a shit about. There's so much shit going wrong in the fucking world. It's okay if you only have 5 things that you really, really, really go fucking hard for, that you are willing to give your all to. Because if all of the billions of us on this planet had 5 things that were really personal to us, that we were fighting for change for, we would see powerful progress across the board. One of the things that you learn when you're getting into marketing is when you're trying to speak to everyone, you actually speak to no one. And that's why everybody is talking to you about niching down. Have the people that you are meant to talk to, have the people that you are meant to serve, have the people that you are meant to help. Can I coach and support a man? Sure. Can I help a man? Sure. But there's going to be some gaps there because I don't know what it's like to be a Black man working in corporate America. I don't know what those microaggressions are like. I know what it's like to be a Black woman experiencing microaggressions from a white woman. So when I heard Taylor Swift's new album, I knew what the fuck was going on immediately. I'm very familiar. I know ball. If there was a white man doing something that was microaggressive towards a Black man, maybe I'd be able to clock it intuitively. I don't know. I can't think of a time when that's happened. I'm not saying that it never happens. I can't think of a time where I have observed a white man being passive aggressive towards a Black man. Maybe in the beginning of centers, like where we're seeing that experience. Would I know how to move a Black man through that process? Sure, absolutely. Could I? Yes, absolutely. Might it be more impactful and powerful and easeful coming from a Black man who has already navigated that experience of experiencing microaggressions and not internalizing it and still being the leader of his mind? Might that support be more impactful coming from somebody who's actually gone through the process? Yeah, I think so. A lot of people are wasting their time trying to look quote unquote woke so that they don't get canceled, so that people aren't mad at them or angry at them or upset with them. But when you're pretending to care about things that you don't have conviction over, or when you are showing up and trying to fight for shit that you've never had to overcome in your life, it kind of falls flat. It's kind of not as moving. It's kind of not as powerful. It's not as inspiring. The reason that when I talk about getting back up when you fail. The reason that when I talk about increasing your income, the reason that when I talk about going from no sales to having sales, the reason that when I talk about going from feeling powerless to feeling empowered, and you feel so moved, you feel shifted, you start feeling inspired, you get into your own flow state. The reason why that happens is because I have actually gone on that journey. The reason why energy shifts when I talk about the things that I know is because I'm talking about shit that I have actually moved through myself. That is going to be your most potent, powerful energy. If you have not gone through it, you cannot help someone else navigate that experience. And really quick 2.5 caveat here. It doesn't have to be the exact same experience, word for word, bar for bar. But let's say if you're someone who comes from a family that's financially safe and secure, and you never in your life had an experience where you were worried and scared that the bills might not be paid, I don't believe that you are the appropriate person to go and speak to someone who's only ever been afraid that the bills won't get paid, and to tell them, hey, just don't worry. Just trust that the money will come in, and then it will. You're going to sound condescending. You're going to sound out of touch. You're not going to be able to get them that same shift in energy because you haven't moved through what they need help moving through. I had a coach. She was my coach for a couple of years. Lovely woman, has helped me a lot with business and with business and with money manifestation. She's a lovely coach, but she has a really, really good relationship with her mother. She has always felt supported by her mother. So when I hit something in my business where I was feeling really challenged and a lot of resentment around my mom was coming up, and I'm freaking out about all of these things, and a part of me doesn't want to receive because of how that will impact my relationship with my mother and all of this stuff, that coach could not help me. She could not support me. Everything that she said to me sounded generic, sounded unhelpful, sounded unsupportive. I felt like shit. It did not shift my energy because she had not gone through the transformation that I was going through. She had not unblocked what I needed help unblocking. So just because somebody hasn't gone through the same things as us doesn't mean they can't help us in anything. But the people who are able to shift us the most are the people whose stories align closely with the lives that we've led and the experiences that we've had, that we're now living out the consequences of in our unwanted reality. So the person who grew up poor and was able to create wealth is probably going to be able to talk to you and explain the pain that you're going through and explain the frustration, and going to be able to connect with you. Even if it's not direct and verbal, energetically, you're going to resonate with them and you're going to resonate with their story. And as they're talking about their story and as they're talking about their life experience, you're going to feel excited. You're going to feel alignment. You're going to feel relief. You're going to feel energy shifting. You're going to feel creative ideas coming in and old stories releasing. You're going to feel yourself vibing up because they've undergone that change and that transformation that you're seeking and that you need help with. You are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. So if you don't show up, then there are people that are not going to be served. You are going to lead because you're a leader and leaders lead. And you're going to use your purpose, which is your understanding that this is for us. I am leading a community. You're going to use your purpose and your conviction to propel you forward. You're going to use that as an engine. And that fuel will be never ending. And that is how you will reach your goals. It is important that you thrive. It is important that you heal. It is important that you shift. It is important that you go through your transformation. Because there is a group of people, there is a company full of people, there is a team full of people who are waiting to be positively impacted by your pursuit of your purpose, by the manifestation of your goal and of your desire. When it comes down to business, and when it's time for you to grow and expand your business, and when it's time for you to hire out employees, what better way is it to combat the experience of Black names being thrown out, applications not even getting reviewed because of somebody's name? What better way to remedy that than to be the business owner who is deliberately seeking out the people who look like you, the people who come from places that you come from, the people who have gone on a similar journey as you, who are also committed in the way that you are. It's powerful to have a woman who looks like you and comes from the place that you come from, who believes in you and is willing to take you under her wing. It's powerful to have that. You are that person. If you're like, I didn't have that, you are that person. You are called to be that person for other people. That propels you. That is what you focus on. When the outside external world is so loud and the noise is so fucking crazy, you get back into your purpose. Every single day you tap back into your purpose. Oh, that's right. This is what I'm doing this shit for. Okay. Yeah, this is good. All right, everybody check out the Pursue Your Purpose workbook. It's inside of the free resource library. The link is in the description box or the show notes. And I recommend doing the journal. I like to do the journal multiple times, but what I've been doing recently, meaning today, is I'm going over my old journal entries, like the entries that I did in my digital journal before, and I'm adding to the places where I didn't put answers or I skipped questions or whatever, and I'm going over the places where I already answered, and I'm doing EFT tapping on the answers that I did. And so that's really shifting my energy as well. I'm reading the sentences that I have written out in my notebook, and I'm tapping along my meridian points as I speak out loud, right? So I'm tapping on my points and I'm saying out loud, women all over the world that are called to level up, who have opted in to experience their transformation through my work, are healed and supported when I get course sales every single day. I'm saying those parts of the sentence and I'm tapping along my meridian points. And that's helping me to live in the end. It's helping me to visualize and get a very clear picture of the powerful, positive outcome of me getting what I want and what I need. Also, you should check out the Receiver's Mindset course because I wasn't planning on talking about it or advertising it. I'm not going to send emails about it at this time. But if today's episode really resonated with you and you want more help releasing those blocks and fears around getting what you want, if you get caught up in, I can't get it, it won't happen for me, what if it's not happening, what if it's not working, yes, you need a way to debunk your limiting beliefs, which you get inside of the program, but you also need to give your brain something else to do. And in addition to tapping into the power of your purpose and the positive ripple effect of what's going to happen when you get what you want, what's going to happen in the world when you get what you want, the receiver's mindset has the exercises that you need to continue tapping into the vibration of your desire. It has the mindset shifts that I have used and I have learned and understood over the years in order to wrap my mind around receiving more money, wrap my mind around receiving course sales every single day, wrap my mind around increasing my prices, and wrap my mind around receiving any manifestation, whether it's a manifestation of a new bed or the manifestation of a new computer or the manifestation of a new car or the manifestation of groceries or the manifestation of growing and expanding my social media. The receiver's mindset is a course on how to be the woman who argues for her desires, how to think like a receiver. And one aspect of that is having a lot of power and conviction around your purpose. And another aspect of that is having self-worth, knowing that you are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs. What does that look like on a practical level? How do you develop that belief that you are an important, significant woman who matters and belongs? And how do you, in your day-to-day life, think and speak and behave like the woman who receives her every wish and desire? The receiver's mindset is how you develop those skills. Okay. I love you lots. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Rate this shit 5 stars. And if you're going to rate it anything less than 5 stars, then just don't do it. And you don't have to listen to any more episodes. Okay. Love you. Bye.